question is, I'm tossing up between a unit in the eastern suburbs of Melbourne for 400,000 two-bed, or a home in regional New South Wales or Darwin. Bloody Darwin. Everyone's talking about Darwin. Any thoughts or advice? So firstly, for this Aaron, I'm assuming if we're talking about a $400,000 two-bed property in just about anywhere in Melbourne, we're not really talking about a unit. We're probably more talking about a like a unit block format where there's quite a few units sitting on the site. Pretty hard to get a unit even in a regional location for around that price. But ultimately, it doesn't matter if you're buying in a capital city or if you're buying in a regional location. Like everything comes down to land to asset value ratio. And I was going to use a suburb, but I don't know where in Melbourne you were referring to, but this is the suburb of Carnegie. So it's in the east of Melbourne, not too far away from one of the Caulfield Monash campus here along the M1. But what we're looking at here, we just want to look at the 10-year performance. So if you bought a unit, this one you can see down here in the bottom left, I've got unit selected. The median price is about 575. The annual growth rate over the last 10 years has been 1.8%. Now, we always hear the RBA going on about being within that 2 to 3% band for inflation. So what it's showing here is that if you held this asset, you got 1.8% per annum, but you go, well, maybe I purchased it for 550, it's gone up 1.8% over the last few years. Well, you've actually been outperformed by inflation. So other than being able to sit around the dinner table and brag that you've got an investment property in Melbourne, if we're talking about pure performance of that property, it's underperformed. It will continue to underperform, and the reason for that is all the value sits in the actual house, and none of it is, or very small amounts in the land. And when you start to get into these areas, like they're built high density areas, you're just going to continue to get more supply. So there'll be more unit blocks, more apartment blocks come through. Your rental property, your property that you've got is no longer scarce. So you're going to still continue to track along at inflation or less. Now, if we go to somewhere regional, and on this slide here, I've just picked Tamworth because you said New South Wales. Got a house selected in this option. And if we look at the 10-year growth rate here, we're talking about 6.5%. And in the last 3 years, pretty crazy, 47.4% in the last 3 years. So, I mean, for me, it's always going to be a 3 or 4 bedroom family home. I don't care where it is in Australia. Do have some rules outside of that. I don't want to be in a tiny remote mining town or tiny town in the middle of nowhere. But large regional centres, capital cities, I really don't care. But it's always going to be a 3 or 4 bedroom home because the premise of property investing is land appreciates, homes depreciate over time. So I want essentially the value of the property that I'm holding to be mostly sitting in the actual land component as well. But thanks for flicking that one through, Arun.